This is Kingdom View of Relationship and Marriage. Why would you video your sexual act? Why would you video the sexual act of you and your husband? It won't help you. You know, a lot of funny things are happening. You and your husband, you are in the room doing something secretive and you are still videoing the act. For what? You want to show your children or you want to send it online? Certain things are not even, they don't want it. It won't help you. It will only render you helpless. What if your children or visitor gets to see that recording accidentally? Do you think that will bring honor to you? The marriage bed should be honored and consecrated. I've been to a particular family before that, checking the laptop. I saw a lot of sexual videos there. Well, though that's not the video of the husband and the wife, but other people, other people's sexual videos. I saw it there. I begin to wonder. And the children will see this on the laptop. What kind of, you know, what kind of spirit would they invite to their children? You don't need to watch sexual videos to help yourself. Are you there? There are certain families, what they do is they watch sexual videos after washing to a point, then they now begin to have sex. That thing you are doing, you are inviting a demon. The kind of child you will give birth to, you will not even imagine it. Because what inspired that sexual action is not God, it's immorality. So you discover you just give birth to children that will be addicted to immoral things. Let's be careful. If what you want to educate your children, okay, if you want to educate your children about sex, please don't hide anything. Just tell them everything they need to know. What we teach our young ones is what they will grow up knowing. I have been in an environment where the word penis is referred to as kokoro. Some people even call penis pencil. They say, hey, your pencil, your hey. Tell them the real thing. And they will know the right thing. The reason our people are not knowing the right thing, the reason they are not learning the right thing, is because we are not telling them the real thing. How will you call penis kokoro? How will you call penis pencil? Call it the name and teach them so that they will know how to handle certain things. The Lord will help us. There is a difference between a godly person and a goodly person. A goodly person looks good on the outside and may not necessarily be good on the inside, while a godly person is good both inside and outside. You can see that in 1 Samuel chapter 9 verse 2. So who you need as a partner is not just a goodly person, someone that looks good, but a godly person. If all you do in love is to keep falling, then you are not matured. Don't fall in love, but grow in love. Don't fall in love, grow in love. Love is not a stumbling block that should make you fall. So you are expected to grow in love. Every time God chooses for you, it is always too big for you because God knows you more than yourself. You may think you are cheap, but to God, you are expensive. So that's why sometimes when God gives you certain choices, you begin to wonder, me? That's God for you. But you take patience to get the best of God. Your friendship period is a pointer period. Don't be too blind that you won't see what God is showing you from your friendship. If they can't move with you, then you should have seen that from the friendship period. Don't be blind with love. Open your eyes and see. In marriage, it takes proper understanding through God's grace to keep looking at your spouse without getting tired of them. Imagine you have been seeing a particular face, sleeping together with a particular person for so many years without being tired of them. There is something about relationship that only God can reveal. Absolute togetherness is God's strength in your marriage. You are renewed daily by His grace in your marriage. So you can't fade away when the grace of God is available. You can't fade away. God's will for you in marriage is not defined by titles. God's will are not the people you see around, but the people you see around can become God's will. God's will is not a pastor, but a pastor can become God's will. Stop running after every leader that you see. Stop giving yourself cheaply to them. The will of God for you is the gift of God's best to you. The key to knowing God's will is the fear of God. If they don't fear God, then they can't be for you. If you think you have the best spouse today, you will still see other people's spouses who seem to be far more better than yours. If your partner is not educated, the day you will see other people whose partner are educated, you may be moved. At that stage in a relationship, the only thing that will help you out is your commitment to each other. So, at some point, we may see some people who have certain unique features that our partner do not have, but we must be committed to each other. It's our commitment that will now keep us going, even when we see others who have certain physical qualities that our partner do not have. Marriage is commitment. Don't go into a relationship if you won't be committed to it. We need to understand that. No marriage is an already made. There's no marriage that is already made. It is you that will make it ready. You must be willing to push through so that you can break through. You must be willing to push through so that you can break through. Know your calling before knowing your spouse. It's very important. Know your calling before knowing your spouse. Marriage is about, marriage is not about denomination. It is about Christ. Marry in the Lord, not necessarily marry in your denomination. To marry in the Lord is to marry a Christian. He or she may not be from your denomination, but the fact remains that it doesn't disprove, the fact remains that you are marrying in the Lord. Your denomination is not the only structure where Christians can be found. There are, there are other Christians in other ministries too. Anyone who says you must marry from a particular denomination is trying to mislead you. The instructions of God is marry in the Lord, not necessarily marry in the denomination. Are you getting it? It's important we note that your friend married a doctor and is happy or she's happy does not mean you also must marry a doctor to be happy. Don't start hunting for doctors or a particular occupation just because your friend married them and he or she finds happiness. You are not the same with your friend. Friendship is not equality. You are not friends because you are exactly the same. As a matter of fact, no two people are exactly the same. Marriage is not by profession. Don't bring job specialization into it. Marriage is a universal set, and every organization is a subset of marriage. The intersection between two marriages must be genuine love, while their union must be Christ. Even when a marriage appears to be an empty set, God is still God. Irrespective, irrespective of marriage cardinality, you are expected to still continue in agreement. This is a mathematical analysis of marriage. Let me come again with the mathematical analysis of marriage. Now, marriage is a universal set, and every organization is a subset of marriage. The intersection between two marriages, the intersection between two married people must be genuine love, while their union must be Christ. Even when a marriage appears to be an empty set, God is still God. Irrespective of marriage cardinality, you are expected to still continue in agreement. This is the mathematical analysis for marriage. Marriage is not the coming together of two halves to make one. No, it is the coming together of two complete beings to become perfect. So in marriage is not 1/2 plus 1/2. No, marriage is 1 plus 1 to give 1. Pregnancy is not a gift, it is a reward. You can't be pregnant without having sex. So being pregnant is a reward for having sex. It is not, please marry me. It should be, will you marry me? Proposal is not a means of begging or persuading others in order to get a positive reply. Make your request polite and wait for your answer patiently. No matter how deeply in love you may be, please don't build your marriage on begging. It won't last. You are not a beggar, so don't work with the beggar's mentality. Any marriage that is built on begging will be sustained by begging. So even when you are married, you say, "There, please, let's do this." Why? Because initially the marriage was built on begging. So any marriage that is built on begging will be sustained and maintained by begging. So don't add begging to the foundation of your marriage. Otherwise, you won't enjoy it. Be real and be polite. Even when beauty fails in marriage, a good character can still keep the marriage ball rolling. Beauty can fail, but if you have a good character, of course, your marriage will survive. Anyone whose love cannot be displayed in the open is not genuine. Fake love cannot survive exposure. Fake love cannot survive exposure. When people whom you love dearly turns you down, please don't harm yourself. Just encourage yourself and move on. If you don't go away, you may not find a way. If you don't go away, you may not find a way. If you don't move on, you may not move out. Are you there? So when people whom you love dearly turns down, when they turn their back at you, don't harm yourself. Just encourage yourself and move on. Because if you don't go away, you may not find a way. And if you don't move on, you may not move out. So take note of that. If you truly value your marital relationship, then you must be prepared to lose. Don't prepare to win every argument between you and your partner. Even when you have points, sometimes you will need to decide to lose in order to win your relationship. Be a loser if you want to end up a winner in your relationship. Argument continues as long as no one is ready to submit. You must understand that in relationship and marriage, sometimes we lose to win, and sometimes we win to lose. So you must understand. So when I say you must be prepared to lose in relationship or in marriage, I'm not saying you should be a loser. What I'm saying is that losing, you are losing to win. That's how to say it. You must understand that principle. Sometimes you may not win your marriage if you are not ready to lose certain things. Now, since God was satisfied in Jesus and Jesus was equally satisfied in God, this teaches us a great lesson about marriage. Let's follow this pattern. The husband is expected to be satisfied in his wife, the same way the wife should also be satisfied in her husband. That's the format. It's important to note that you don't need an helper if you are not going anywhere. Why seeing who to marry when you have not even seen your vision? You cannot see a vision, but yet you can see who to marry. What kind of sight is that? Why seeing who to marry when you haven't discovered your ministry, when you have not discovered your purpose? Don't bring don't bring innocent people into your confusion. Marriage is not for confused people. You must understand that. Marriage have not failed because the founder God cannot fail. Are you there? The reason marriage have not totally been eradicated, even when we have a lot of crisis in it, a lot of mismatching and things like that, is because the founder cannot fail, which is God. So it means if you stay with the founder to help you build your marriage also will not fail. If your marriage fails, then your knowledge about it is small. Just the same way the Bible says, he that faileth in the time of adversity have a little strength. The same way, when your marriage fails, is a sign that you have a little knowledge of it. Stop trying to marry people who have made up their mind never to end up with you. Otherwise, you won't stop wishing. You went to them, they say, I can never marry you, and you are still insisting as if they are the only one in the universe. I think you need to pray again and hear God. Don't let anybody frustrate you. Your life is important to God. Many are into a relationship unknowingly because they kept on assuming things that should not be assumed. So because the brother is nice to me now, it means we are in a relationship together. Because the sister is usually nice to me, it means I'm in a relationship with her. That's not true. Don't marry what you cannot manage. Don't marry what you cannot manage. To survive and maintain a godly relationship, you must learn how to tell yourself the truth. The best period to prepare for marriage is when you are single. You must understand that. So to survive and maintain a godly relationship, you must tell yourself the truth. Singlehood is not meant to last forever. Don't be too fast to end it before the right time. Is a period, the period of your, of being single is a period to build yourself, work on yourself to look like, the will of God you are expecting. If you know you are not going to pray about his marriage proposal, just reply no and let him have your conclusion immediately. Stop postponing what shouldn't be. A brother will come to a sister these days, then the sister will say, okay, give me some time, 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, I'm still praying. Is it a master's degree? If you know it is a no, just give him a no immediately and let him settle his mind for another person. Stop trying to be carnal, trying to make a brother wait, in case, so that if your current relationship fails, you can just jump on that brother. That's carnality. And this is common to some sisters, even some so-called Christian sisters. Please don't be carnal. A godly marriage is by faith, because even if your courtship period is long, it doesn't mean that you have known everything about them. Don't choose to be a mother when you have not properly been made a wife. Don't choose to be a mother when you have not properly been made a wife. Before you become a mother, please be a wife first. Because if you become a mother before you if you ever become a mother before becoming a wife, it means you have jumped a process. I prefer to have a no for an answer from a Christian than to have a quick yes from an unbeliever. May I never marry the only available ones. Are you there? May I never marry if the only available ones are ungodly people. I love unbelievers, but I can't marry them. Can you see that? We are to show, people that are ungodly, show them love, but they are not your marriage match. They don't fit you. Are you there? Don't just say, well, since there are not Christian people available, let me just marry this one. We'll try to change him. We'll try to change her. You will kill yourself. It's better to wait for long to marry the will of God than to say no to waiting and just marry anybody that's available. Love is not bad because your experience about it was bad. Don't keep painting the wrong picture of love just because of the bitter experience you have had about it. That you marry the wrong person does not mean that everybody is wrong. Don't judge the future of others by your own bad past. We have to be careful of that. Some people they talk bad about marriage because they married the wrong person. No, it's wrong. Don't discourage people. Encourage them. For the fact that there is an issue in your marriage does not mean everybody will have issue with their marriage. I pray the Lord will help us in Jesus' name. This is Kingdom View of Relationship and Marriage series. So, at the age of 18, as a female, you're already exposed to different flatteries from males. Some they tell you are beautiful, some say we love you. Even before you reach 18, 15, even 14 these days, even lesser than that, they tell you a lot of things. You look good, I love you, I can die for you, those kind of things. Now, they are believed to have attained, the reason they are coming to you is because they believe you have attained some level of maturity. And that's one of the things that puberty brings to you. When you reach the stage of puberty, all these things becomes normal. Are you there? So the stage of puberty brings certain level of attraction between you and the opposite sex. Now, it is your knowledge on relationship and marriage that will guide you to say a yes, a no, or a wait. So what will teach you when to use this weapon? You must understand that no, yes, and wait, there are three powerful weapons of relationship. You must know how to use them, where to use them, and when to use them. Now, many get carried away by flatteries. Immediately they hear the word, I love you. Please don't please understand yourself and put yourself into order. Don't be destabilized just because somebody say I love you to you. No, that's not enough to take you out of course. Be yourself. Because if you are not yourself, you will hurt yourself. And how you will hurt yourself is that you will make a decision, a very rash decision that will land you into trouble. In marriage, you need to understand the reasons for some actions and reactions. If you have a husband or wife who always feel bad each time sex is demanded, they see sex as a stress and not as a pleasure. People like this are not to be blamed. Those who have once been abused sexually are likely to react that way because each time you talk about sex, they will quickly remember that act and become scared. If you marry an orphan, he or she may get jealous each time you talk about your wonderful parents. If you marry from a polygamous home, people like that are likely to ask, hope you won't leave me for another wife. Of course, they will ask because they know the kind of family they came from. So they will keep asking you as their husband, hope you will not leave me for another woman. Hope you won't leave me alone. You see, to you as a husband, you may feel embarrassed, but the truth is, her family background was responsible for that because her father married more than one wife. Because of this, she may think you are likely to do the same. Don't just judge your partner. Try to know why they are reacting that way. If you cannot cope with him or her before marriage, please don't marry. If you cannot cope with him or her before marriage, please don't marry. Don't even try to fake it because you may end up faking it. If he is a liar before marriage, then he may still continue to lie if care is not taken, even in marriage. If she tries to slap you before marriage, then she may slap you in marriage. Marriage is not an automatic switch. If you don't know anything about him or her before marriage and you marry, then you have successfully married a stranger. The good news about children in every responsible parent's life is not just giving birth to them, but instead it should be raising and training them to be disciplined and godly. What is the essence of giving birth to children that are not responsible? Don't try giving birth to children if you won't try training them rightly. Be their instructor. As you instruct them to do right, you also must learn to live right. Train up a child in the way you should go, and when he grows, he will not depart from it, says the Bible. King Saul, King Saul became, David's father-in-law. King Saul gave Michal, his daughter to David as a wife. But to Michal, you know, to Michal, his wife, that is the daughter of David now, David was a darling. To King Saul, who gave Michal to David, David was an enemy. But to Michal, that was given to David, David was a darling. King Saul ran after David to take his life, but Michal was with him as a faithful wife to keep him safe. The moment you start seeing your partner in marriage the same way their enemies are seeing them, then you have become an enemy in the home. Love is the only sure cure for enmity. If you start misbehaving, all because God led you, if you start misbehaving, all because God led your leader in Christ to you for marriage, then you are being childish. Will you marry me is not the same as will you insult me. He's only asking for your hand in marriage, not your insult or pretense. You must still give him the due honor that he deserves, as well as you must equally retain your dignity. Love is a choice. When you say, I love you, you are equally saying, I choose you. To love is to trust. When you say, I love you, you are equally saying, I trust you. If this is true, then it implies that we must think deeply before using the word I love you because it has a deep meaning. Do you know that love can prevent you from divorcing your wife even when she is caught in the act of adultery? To some, this statement is impossible, but if you are a man of love, you will know that it is very possible. Every man is ordained by God to be a defender of his home until the males start working with this revelation. They are not men. Every true man walks in the light of this revelation. According to God, if this revelation is not understood by you, you are not yet a man. Jesus demonstrated this when he died on the cross. A true man will say, take me and leave my family. They will say, suffer me and don't suffer my children. Suffer me and don't suffer my wife. That attitude is found in every true man. They are ready to defend their family even with their life. The Bible says in marriage, both of you in marriage, both of you comes together to become one. Listen, this does not mean that everything about you are equal. Your way of viewing things are still different. Your hobbies are still different. Your abilities are different. And even your approach to solve problems are different. The oneness the Bible is talking about here is simply the ability to tolerate each other, respect each other's view and opinion. Are you there? The oneness is to agree with each other and represent each other in a unique way. For the fact that the Bible is saying you are one in marriage does not mean your mentality is the same thing. It does not mean you are going to have the same way of viewing things. Are you there? So, but that oneness just have to do with your ability to understand each other. Are you there? Your ability to make allowance for each other. Some women are just too spiritual. They think as a wife, if you need sex or you are in a sexual mood, you can't demand you can't demand it from your husband because they believe it is only your husband that must always demand for sex. It's not true. If you are married, that is if you are married. If you are married and you are in that mode, you can tell your husband. It's not always the husband that will say, "Dear, okay, let us." No, you too, you can say it. There's nothing sinful about it. That, so, and sometimes when you expect your husband to say something like that and he's not saying it, don't think he's a wicked person. No, he may be busy. This is kingdom view of relationship and marriage. The first point here is that someone always acts and behave nicely to you does not mean they have you in mind. They always make you laugh does not mean they will marry you. Even when they comfort you when you are depressed, that may not really mean they are thinking about you. They look at you with a smile has nothing to do with marriage. This doesn't mean they are bad, they are just doing their thing. That is how their own life is designed. Stop trying to build a house on the air or trying to make a tea with an ocean. You don't have to be harsh on those you won't marry. The Bible commands that you should show love to all, but you must check what you think. Many of us we jump into conclusions so fast. So because each time both of you enters into a taxi together, he pays for your fare, for your fee now, that has meant that he wants to marry you. You are writing your biro file, he helps you to pick it. So that means he loves you. Why why are we jumping into conclusion? You cannot come to the conclusion that a person loves you until they have confessed their love for you. They must first confess it. Until confession, you can't you can't reach, you cannot say there's a confirmation. Until there's a confession, you cannot say there's a confirmation. Are you there? So one of the things that helps you to confirm love is confession. They must first confess it before you confirm it. Don't begin to confirm what has not been confessed. For the fact that they are showing a kind of nice attitude towards you does not mean they want to marry you. So you have to learn all this so that you will not begin to give yourself unnecessary heartbreaks. No matter how good looking you may be, there are still people that your looks will not impress. If you like, put on a golden suit. There are still some people that will not be impressed by what you put on. Don't feel sad about that. You are designed for a person, and when that person finds you, that's all. Though there are still certain people who will find you to be wonderful, but never forget you need just one of those multitudes so that you won't start trying to impress people. So your dressing, your look will not impress everybody. But those people that God have designed for you, when they see you, even when what you are putting on is not expensive, they will admire it and they will value it. Another thing to notice, stop lying to yourself. If you are not comfortable in any relationship, then prepare to end it. Stop trying to manage hell. That is not God's destination for you. If the relationship is affecting you, if the relationship is eating you up, don't try to manage it. That is hell already. Don't try to manage hell. Hell is not the destination of God for you. As a lady, as a lady, that different men approach you daily does not mean the devil is after you. Are you there? It is not demonic. In fact, as a female, if you don't move men, then you need a serious deliverance. Now, moving men here does not mean you have to be seductive. No, just naturally, just being yourself, being natural alone will attract people to you. Are you there? So God have created all men to love women. Even those who do not marry, are you there? Still love women. It is just that by choice they have chosen to refuse to marry. So females, you must learn how to handle that truth. Every female will gain an attraction from a man. Are you there? So you must learn to handle it. For the fact that 5 brothers or more than that are coming to you to tell them they like you and things like that, does not mean you now have to open the door of your life to all these strange people. No. You need to be able to handle that reality. A female will attract a male. It's a law. Are you there? But you now need to take caution. Not everyone that comes to you should be allowed around you. You must note that. And then when we dress, let's ensure we dress to show, you know, to show who we are. Don't dress to show your nakedness. Are you there? Dress to show who you are. Let your dressing reveal your gender. Are you there? Don't be a male and start dressing like a female. Are you there? Let your dressing show your gender. Let it reflect the real you. When you get married, it is normal to have children. And as a female, you must prepare yourself for that. Don't start looking strange because you have started giving birth to children. Put yourself together and ensure you are looking good always. Let your husband see that let your husband see that let your husband see that you are as wonderful as you were at first. Some people, especially the women, when they get married, they just lose their guard. They suddenly become a grandma, tying wrapper here and there, all in the name of I'm pregnant. No, still look good. Don't lose guard. Still be that same wonderful lady you saw before marriage. These are some of the things. They are some of the spices you add to your marriage, and you make it, enjoyable and desirable. Trying to marry someone who is already married is a pure waste of time and energy. Once they are married and you are sure and you have discovered they are married, back off, step away. Don't try to chase somebody that is married. Don't be don't be an enemy. Learn to pray for others. Don't be selfish. By praying for others willingly without grudge, you may be helping your future partner unknowingly. The sick lady you are praying for her healing today may turn out to be your wife tomorrow. Can you see that? That sick lady you are praying for God to heal today can become your wife tomorrow. So when you learn to pray for others, you are doing yourself a lot of good. Now, don't take a man to your family if he has not taken you to his own family. Stop making your parents look like a fool. Are you there? If the man is serious with what he's saying, he will take you to his family. So after he has taken you to his family, then of course you know that okay, now you know this thing is heading somewhere. So you can now take him also to your family. I hope you get that. Don't think, okay, let's let's go to the next point. One of the most powerful laws of love states that anybody can love and anybody can be loved. Now, one of the most powerful laws of love states that anybody can love and anybody can be loved. You cannot be too bad to love. At least you will love one person. The lady every man chases have a man she loves, and the man every woman chases also have a lady he is chasing. The lady nobody wants to marry have somebody that loves her, and the man that you call ugly also have a lady that is willing to marry him. So anybody can love and anybody can be loved. Can you get that? That's a principle. Now you must also know that whatever an outsider says about your spouse can never be absolutely correct until it is confirmed from your spouse. Don't start acting on what a stranger is saying. Let your partner's word be more real and true to you than others. What others say about your husband or wife cannot be true until you have confirmed from them. Be a supporter and not an opposition. Somebody came to you and said your husband is a bad man, and the next thing is you begin to relate with him in that picture. That's wrong. That's wrong. You must be able to make, don't let the words of an outsider influence you against your husband. Anything they say about your partner that you have not confirmed, that you have not seen, that is not a possibility around them, don't believe it. Are you there? Don't believe it. They can tell you your wife is bad, your wife is. Don't, because of those things you have heard outside, now begin to act strange. That's wrong. In case you are eager for marriage or you desire to marry right, and all those wonderful, decent, and godly people you see around are very much older than you, just in case you have forgotten, there are still people like that who are younger that the Lord have prepared for you. Don't rush. Let your heart be at rest. For instance, you are in an environment where you see a lot of wonderful ladies, very, they are God fearing, but all of them are married. So you now begin to wonder, Jesus, all these people that are God fearing are married. And you now begin to feel like there are no other God fearing people that are not married. That's a wrong thought. If we have married people that have the fear of God, I can assure you, you have more of the unmarried people that have the fear of God. So your responsibility is not to begin to conduct a research. Your responsibility is to keep doing what God says. And as you continue in your obedience, God takes up the responsibility of bringing your partner close to you. Children are meant to be monitored. As long as you are their parent, your decree should be considered by them. Don't give your young ones unnecessary independence. They will grow wings if you do that. That they are through with their secondary school does not make them the lord of the house. Children are bound to misbehave, and that is why parents are there to caution and to correct them. So we need to be careful. We need to be very, very careful. I've seen some parents, the moment their children is done with the secondary school education, they just lose guard. So that child now begins to dictate for the family. That's wrong. You must stay in your place as a parent. As long as they are still under you, your decree must stand. They must, you know, they must they must follow your instructions, provided it's in the will of God. If all the clothes you buy for your children are transparent ones, clothes that reveals their inner organs, then please just know that whatever happens to them is your fault. No wonder sexual purity looks impossible. Some parents are not even helping matters. Your children can be decent in their dressing and still look good. If you don't want them to make the same mistakes you once made, then don't lead them in a wrong path. Decency is important. God intentionally designed a woman and then put, God intentionally designed a woman and then put a tiny membrane called the hymen on the female's reproductive organ. This membrane is filled with blood. It is a gate created by God, not for any man to open anyhow. When it opens, the blood spills to show that a covenant have been made. Whosoever opens it should be a husband and not a boyfriend or sugar daddy, like many people call it today. The hymen on the reproductive organ of the female is a gate. Only your husband should open it and enter through it. Nobody becomes your husband until they are legally married to you. Be wise and save. Be wise so that you can save yourself from dishonor. Let me quickly say this. You see, your virginity is something to keep and not something to lose. You may be listening to this audience and you are around people that are talking down on it. Go and what is this? You don't know things. You are not exposed. If you are exposed, you should do this, you should do that. Don't believe them. The word of God is more better. Are you there? So this is the word of the Lord to you. Your virginity is worth keeping. So don't lose it anyhow. Keep it for the right man. Are you there? And for those of you that have lost it, maybe due to one thing or the other, you can make a decision, to consecrate yourself to the Lord and say, Lord, this will not happen again until I am married. That's all. Our God is a loving God. Once you are ready to make decisions from Him, once you are ready to make decisions for Him, He's ready to embrace you and supply grace in your direction. Another thing to note here is pregnancy is not just a gift. It is something we work towards. If there is no sex, there will be no pregnancy. The same way we work out our salvation with fear and trembling, pregnancy is also worked out with determination. If you are pregnant without marriage, it is not the devil that throws it at you. You picked it by choice. Stop blaming the devil when you need to talk, when you need someone to talk some sense to you. Stop blaming the devil when you need to talk some sense to yourself. Pregnancy is like an equation in mathematics. You can't get the answer if you have not solved the equation. Are you there? Now, don't just love him as a father to your children. Love him as a husband. Are you there? In marriage, don't just love your head as the father to your children. Love him as your husband. Don't just love her as a mother to your children. You should love her as your wife. Make sure your love remains unchanged even when your position in marriage changes. You are not married to the devil. Please enjoy your marriage. It is a gift from God to you, so enjoy it. Happiness is a choice. You can be happy in your marriage even when storms are visible around you. You can be happy in your marriage even when you have problems visible around you. Your challenges must never stop you from being happy. Keep your This is Kingdom View of Relationship and Marriage series. If God will not allow the Israelites to build the ark anyhow, if He will not allow Noah to build the ark anyhow, then you should know that He will not allow you to build your marriage anyhow. God is a master planner. He has a format for marriage. And until you can discover it from the scripture, your marriage will not work in that pattern. Are you there? You can only use it when you find it. You must find God's pattern for marriage. You must find God's pattern for relationship. When you find it, then you apply it. God will not be happy if you do your relationship anyhow. And you see, an anyhow relationship will lead to an anyhow marriage. So don't do your relationship anyhow. No. Don't. You need to find the pattern from God. How does God want this thing to operate? So when you get an answer to that, it will help you to be able to, flow in the direction of the will of God. Another point here is don't marry anyone who is idle. They may have sweet words. Oh, you are the sugar, you are the honey, you are the biscuit. Don't marry anyone that is idle. In other words, don't marry anybody that is lazy, whether a male or a female. Beware. Beauty is vain. If they don't have anything doing, then they are disqualified for marriage already. Your work is one of those things that qualifies you for marriage. No matter how poor the income may be, just ensure you are not doing nothing. Ensure you are doing something. No matter how poor or how low the income may be, ensure you are doing something. Be busy doing something. Before God gave Adam, a wife, He had already given him a job. Are you there? Before God gave Adam a wife, God had already given him something to do. So it will mean that if you also do not have something you are doing, then God will not give you a partner. If you ever find a partner when you don't have something you are doing, you found it yourself. It's not God. It's not God. You are the one that did it. That's not God. Because for God to give you a partner, then He will have first given you something to do. If you have nothing doing, then you have nothing to do with relationship and marriage. Anybody can guide you into marriage. All they need do is to give you the best advice that they have. But nobody can choose for you. Choice is personal. Are you there? The responsibility of people is to guide you, not to choose for you. Nobody have the right to say you must marry. No. Nobody have the right to do that. We can only guide you. Just like you are listening to this marriage series now. It's not to force you to marry a particular person, but it's to guide you, to give you certain perspective about marriage and relationship that will be helpful to you. But we cannot force you. People can guide you to choose, but when it is time to choose, you will have to do it alone. Advice is generalized because it can either be utilized or ignored. But nobody is permitted to choose or force others on you. Are you there? So if you discover somebody is forcing someone on you, then just know that is not the will of God. Marriage is not supposed to be forceful. It's supposed to be peaceful, and it's supposed to be done willingly, not forcefully. Another point here is before marriage, anything goes. But in marriage, that changes completely. Even when they know your manners are bad, They won't complain because they know they can't marry you. But this can't happen in marriage. For instance, there are certain bad manners you have before marriage that your partner may not even complain about. The reason he will not complain about this is because he or she knows that they won't end up with you. So they will just leave you to be doing your rubbish. But when you marry, anything does not go. Certain things that are allowed in relationship are not allowed in marriage. You must understand that. Those who are not concerned about how you live your life are not ready to marry you. They only want to use you and dump you. You have a weakness that is obvious, and your partner in relationship is not even talking about it. All he or she is concerned about is just what he can get or what she can get. Just know that person is not ready to marry you. Yes. Anybody that is not concerned about how you live your life is not ready to end up with you. One of the things you do in relationship is that you talk to each other. This is not good. Work on this. Work on this. You can be better here. That's what we call relationship. We must understand this. Even when they know you are cheap, they won't complain because they know they can't marry you. And when you tell them about marriage, their response will definitely shock you. There are certain people you are hanging around with now that the reason they are still with you is because you have not spoken to them about marriage. You tell them about marriage and see their reactions. They will not even want to hear. You know why? The problem is the problem is that they are not ready to marry you. That's why you see they are not correcting anything. They are not helping you to work on yourself. How you will know somebody that is heading somewhere with you, that's going somewhere with you, is that they'll begin to build values and virtues into you. They will expose you to things that will help you, things that will make you better. If your own partner in relationship is not exposing you to things that can help you grow, help you become better, just know that he or she is wasting your time. Nothing happens without something. When a relationship that you end in marriage suddenly ends before marriage, don't start finding people to blame. Check yourself. It is a great lesson coming in a hard way. Are you there? When you see a relationship that you end in marriage ending before marriage, then something is wrong. Something is wrong. So it is a great lesson, but unfortunately, it has to come in a hard way. So let's watch it. Before you go into marriage, you must ask this from yourself: what am I willing to give up? If you can't let go of something for your marriage, then you don't yet know what it takes to be married. You give up to grow up. Are you there? You give up to grow up. There are certain things you must there are certain things you must give up if you really desire to grow up. So before you go into a relationship, not even married now, before you go to a relationship, ask yourself, what am I willing to give up? Many of us are not growing up because we are not ready to give up anything. Let's take note of that too. And that thing is, marriage is God's mixed school for both sexes in creation. The key to life is relationship. If you cannot relate, then you cannot live life as expected. So life is built on relationship. There are different types of relationship. We have marital relationship and other forms of relationships too. So life is built on relationship. We need to understand that your spouse is God's instrument chosen by you for growth. God had already ordained them for you before you could see and choose them for yourself. Can you see that? So that person you're actually thanking God for. Oh, thank God I married this person. It's not just you not marry right because you just choose out of your will. No. If you marry right, then it will mean that God has helped you. God has guided you. Have been guided by God to that person. Are you there? And that does not mean you should look down on others who are, whose marriage are suffering from different crises. No, no, no. Because What you enjoy in your marriage is by grace. You are not really better than those people that are there, that are facing certain challenge. Are you there? Let's take note of that. As a single, be accountable, because marriage will make you accountable to somebody someday. If you enjoy coming home late as a single, you must surely give an account of that in marriage. Your spouse will surely ask, where are you coming from? In marriage, you must prepare to give an account to God through your fellow humans. So not that when they ask, where are you coming from, you say, where do you send me to? Won't I go out? No, that's not the statement of somebody that is accountable. So you must understand that in marriage, you need to be accountable. You will be accountable to God through your partner, whether the male or the female. Another point is, your spouse is not an excuse for failure. They are agents of outstanding excellence. So don't begin to use your partner as the reason for your failure. Well, I was unable to do this because of this. No. They should not be an excuse for your failure. If truly you have chosen in the will of God, they should be the reason for your encouragement. I hope you get it. Another point is, as you journey through marriage, you become better and not bitter. Are you with me? As you journey through marriage, as you begin to get exposed to the experience of marriage, you are expected to get better and not bitter. Marriage is supposed to bring out the better you and not the bitter you. I hope you get what I'm saying. So patience makes it better, while impatience makes it bitter. Patience makes marriage better, while impatience makes marriage bitter. Another point is, now, dear parent, before you go on a 100 days fast, please ensure that you have provided enough food for your children. They are not as strong as you, so they don't need to do the same thing you are doing. Don't starve them to death by letting them do what is beyond their ability. You should train them to partake in a profitable and a godly exercise, but it shouldn't be excessive. You can be the Moses and leave them as you can be the Moses and leave them as the Joshua. That's fine. Don't kill them. Train them. Some parents, they are very spiritual, so when they want to do their 100-day fast, that fast will also affect the children because they are not eating. Somehow there will just be something happening in the family. The children will also suffer from it. No. Don't let because you are doing 100 days fast. We are not saying you should not train. Nobody is saying you should not train your children to partake in spiritual exercise. Are you there? But you should not place them on the same gauge, on the same level at which you are operating. That can be dangerous to them. They are not as strong as you are. So, for the fact that you are embarking on a 100 days fast does not mean that nobody will cook again in that house. No. Let them still do their normal cooking. If possible, let them do their own little time fast. Maybe they break by 12, while you break maybe 6 or whichever time you want to. Are you there? And if you know they don't even have the capacity to break by 12, maybe they are too small, let them eat their normal food and don't let it affect them. So as they begin to grow, you begin to expose them gradually to the syllabus, to the spiritual syllabus. By so doing, you will raise, you'll be able to raise spiritually sound students. So don't just bring them to your own plane like that. I want to do 100-day fast and I'll be breaking by 6. So everybody in this house will be breaking by 6. No. That will affect them. Another point is, having common savings in marriage is good, but personal savings should not be discouraged. Having a common savings in marriage is good, but personal savings should not be discouraged. There's something we call joint account with your husband. Well, that's not bad, but at the same time, your personal savings should not also be discouraged. So nobody should come to you and say, don't have any personal savings. All you should do is just joint savings because you are one. You are one. According to the scripture, it is true. They are one. Are you there? But the same way they can do joint savings, nobody should also discourage you from doing personal savings. Are you there? Personal savings for personal needs, joint savings for joint needs. Can you see that there are difference? The functions are not the same. Your personal savings for your personal needs, your joint savings for your joint needs. If you understand this, of course, you will enjoy your union. Common needs can be met by common savings, but personal savings is for personal needs. Are you there? Another point is, as your money increases, your savings should also increase. Don't increase your spending immediately your income increases. Things may attract you, but you should not attract things. Pay now and rest later. Save now and use later. Can you see that? Another point is, to be a good husband, you must learn how to listen to your wife. She may talk a lot, and you must also be prepared to listen as much as she talks. If your spouse can talk, then you should listen. Don't be too serious to start seeing your wife as an unserious being when she talks. Even when you have your own, concluded plans, still listen to her. Are you there? Still listen to her. Listening to your partner means a lot to them. It even matters to them more than the gift you buy. Somebody, she's trying to tell you something, she's trying to pour out her heart to you, and you just shut her up. Hey, hey, hey. So you discover she's hungry. You now go out and you bought some things, you now give it to her. She will collect it and say thank you. But she can't appreciate that as much as you giving her freedom to express herself, her thoughts, and her opinions. Another thing to note is that the makeups a woman involves the makeups of a woman involves their peculiarities. It is more than the hairdo, the hairstyle. No, it is an inbuilt nature of the woman. She can cry when she's happy, and she can still cry when she's sad. She can shout when she's happy, and she can still shout when she's sad. She can say no, and that no will mean yes. And she can say yes, and that yes will mean no. So that's not pretense, it's a mood. That can be a mood swing, or whatever they call it. So the makeups of a woman involves their peculiarity. Their makeup shows their features. When I say makeup, what I mean is how God made them. Are you there? The makeup of a woman, I mean how God made them. So the way God made a woman is very different. So there are certain features about them that you cannot interpret directly. For instance, if you are saying something good, you are saying something and you suddenly see her crying. Now you may begin to wonder, why is she crying? Is she sad? Now by the time you now investigate, you will now find out that cry is the best way she can show her happiness. Can you see how funny that is? So that's why the Bible says we should deal with each other according to knowledge. Don't just jump into relationship or marriage when you don't have knowledge. If you jump in without knowledge, by grace, that is, if God loves you, you can still you will escape. But not everybody that jump in jump out. Some people jump in and they stay in, but their stay is not pleasurable. They now begin to endure when they are supposed to enjoy. May the Lord give us wisdom.